Hello, and welcome to episode 156 of Checkpoint Chat. My name is Alessandro Barbosa, and I'm joined by Matthew Figuera.
As usual. You know, every week we get together in this weird ritual where we sit in our chairs and speak into these instruments. But unlike last week, today's cold.
To these magical instruments.
These magical voice recording
They vibrate,
instruments.
and then somehow capture our sound and then take it through this coil, and then it's on a computer.
Turns it into binary, and that's the magic of computing.
Harry Potter has nothing on this shit.
Which I will still, to this day, never be able to wrap my head around. The fact that we have somehow manipulated electricity and things to give us visuals and audio and games and all sorts of
We have manipulated ones and zeros to do fantastical things. It is kind of cool. I will say, when you get into the nitty gritty of that shit is complicated AF.
Yeah, I was going to say, do you understand or know any binary?
Mm-hmm.
It's how?
We as part of one of our courses at Wits for electrical engineering was microprocessors, and we learned binary arithmetic, so adding, multiplying, binary, stuff like that. I actually kind of enjoyed it. It gets weird, but it's kind of cool. But then when you have to actually apply that to like we had to we did a project where we could only use a programming language that targeted like the lowest level of like machine language. So essentially you're writing code in a way that a machine interprets it. So it's not actually English. Very complicated. And that really made me appreciate how incredibly cool computers are, because me just trying to program a display that counts from like 1 to 99 is exceedingly complex.
Yeah. But even at the roots of that, like binary is just ones and zeros, right? Like, cool, I understand the logic behind that, but how do you get how does that turn into actual computing? Like, I don't get it. It's just
it's kind of incredible.
Sorcery.
it's really incredible. It's it's just like operations flying at the speed of light, almost like so quickly. And it's the way that's what makes me so like fascinated for like the future, because like computers as we know them didn't exist until I think the first like real ones were like 1970.
Yeah.
So like that's like, you know, within our parents' age, like they were born into a time where these things weren't, either they were just coming into like vogue, like especially in industry, but personal computing didn't exist.
No.
And now it's like you cannot live your life without one. And where do we go from here? And you see those like cool stats where your phone has 100 times more processing power than a supercomputer in 1980 that took up like 3 blocks in New York City. Like, it's fucking crazy. It's so cool. I love it.
And we use these PCs to mine fake currencies now.
Yeah. Now we use it to mine a digital currency.
Creating a global energy crisis out here. But it's fun with people making money.
Yeah, people making money, man. That's how we work.
Good Lord.
Speaking of cool technology, did you see that thing earlier, or it was yesterday, about NVIDIA's CEO? They had their like April, showcase, like stream and whatever.
April.
It was in April, yeah.
Oh.
But it took up until now for them to finally be like, hey, since no one realized it, there was a couple of seconds in that showcase where the CEO, Jensen, and his kitchen were completely digitized.
What?
Yeah, like every single part of him was completely digital. His the background was digital, and it was like their test to see if people would point it out.
So they waited and no one did.
No one pointed it out.
Oh my God. Can you imagine every day waking up to see the news? Like, did they find it? No. 6 months later, like, for God's sake, we're too good. We have to reveal this now.
It's really that. It's like when a game has an Easter egg for like years, and eventually the developers are like, okay, no one's figuring this shit out. We'll just tell you what you missed,
See, some developers will come out and say like, oh, hey, there's this Easter egg we had like 5 years ago. Some developers never say a thing. Like,
It's true.
There have been
It's
stories where it's like, this 20-year-old game has this Easter egg, and I'm like, as a developer, how did you not burst to tell people like, ooh, we hid this thing in?
It would drive me insane, like knowing a secret like that and seeing people on like the periphery of like discovering it. Oh
yeah.
I think there's been some like if I'm not mistaken, there was one in Batman Arkham City that they only revealed like 5 or 6 years after the fact.
Yeah.
Part of the reason why is because it like teased stuff in Arkham Knight, so they were like, okay,
oh shit,
yeah,
that game's not even out yet.
No one found this.
Arkham Knight. Sorry, I'm thinking of Gotham Knights.
Oh no, I'm kind of keen to. I mean, Bungie even hid maybe teasers, I guess. They hinted at Destiny in Halo 3 ODST.
Really?
Which was like,
oh my goodness,
1 or 2 projects before they even left Microsoft.
Yeah. Jesus.
Like you can find posters in there with the image of like that big white globe that is there, and it references Destiny.
So that means that
pretty cool.
Ultimately Halo and Destiny do exist in the same universe canonically. So when are we getting the Master Chief DLC?
I mean,
or
it's
a Guardian in Halo.
It's the logical escalation of that. It's like Master Chief is basically a god. So what if we made a game where everyone was basically Master Chief and then had space powers?
My goodness.
Pretty cool.
It's crazy.
I actually I recently finished up because I started it ages ago and then got busy, but I finished up Halo 2, which is was the only Halo that I hadn't played the story for.
Yeah.
I can see why people were pissed at that ending. Oh my god, because it just
is it a cliffhanger?
It just fucking comes out of nowhere. Yeah, it's just like you're playing and you're like, yeah, this is building to a climax. This is good, and then you see Master Chief and he's like he's like chasing the main antagonist, and it's like, what do we do now? And he's just like, finish the fight, and it's just credits, and it's like, what? You just
come on.
Like, even me expecting it, I was like, no, that is,
so
I can't believe they did it here. Yeah,
Sheesh.
I can imagine why people would. And also now I understand why the opening to Halo 3 is so confusing, because it opens up not where the second game closes. So you're like, how did he get from there to there? Like, that's
kind of the same thing that happened with God of War. I mean, I played God of War like years later, right? Saw God of War 3 at my friend Quinton's house. I was like, damn, look how good this game looks on PlayStation 3. Like, I can't believe the scale of this. Then it was a thing of, I need to go back and play the first 2 because, this looks like a good franchise. So at the end of 2, you busy climbing Olympus on
the
Gaia's back.
Gaia. Yeah.
And then it ends there. And I'm like, if this was me, however many years ago, I would be pissed because that game ended like that. And then it took years for Gears of God of War 3 to come out on PS3 to pick up where that scene left off. Like literally
it's a
assaulting
wild
Olympus. Like,
it is really wild. Yeah. What's cool about that is that the third one picks up like literally right there. Like it even repeats like Kratos's voice lines from there.
Yeah.
And I think it was such a cool transition to be like, oh, this is how it looked on PS2. He has that exact same scene on PS3, and oh my god, like you said, that game. I mean, the fact that you were fighting on Gaia while she was moving,
just climbing,
like it's
God of. I keep getting Gears and God of War mixed up here, but God of War 2 on the PS2, like. What a technical marvel. Because I mean, even playing it on the PS3 at the time, I was like, how did they do this on PS2? And then just God of War 3, I was like, how did they pull this off? It's insane.
And God of War 2 was one of the final PS2 releases from Sony, if not the last one.
I still don't know how they did some of that stuff.
The PS3 was out already, and then God of 2 came out. God of War 2 came out. I'm actually lately I've been going through a YouTube channel. They like a video essayist, Noah Cadwell, I think his name is.
Mm-hmm.
He's the one who released the 7-hour breakdown of Resident Evil as a franchise. It's a phenomenal. It's a phenomenal essay, and what blows me away is that it seems that he does all the VO in one cut. because he leaves mistakes in there. So like it's like 7.5 hours. It's ridiculous.
I was just gonna say, like, to edit. I mean, my limited capabilities with video editing, whether it's editing a 2-minute video to 20-minute video, like that is like insanely time consuming. I've got a lot of respect for people to put together like these hour and a half long, documentaries or whatever, because shit, imagine having to like put that together, then edit it and like, quality assured, like did I leave any mistakes
constantly
in?
Yeah,
I mean, I do my little 60-second reviews and I watch it many times and I still pick up mistakes like after the fact, like, oh shit, there's a typo there, oh shit, this cuts too quickly. Yeah, so I don't blame the dude for 7.5 hours just like rambling
it's
off.
wild.
Yeah,
it's a phenomenal, like, he goes deep into every single entry and like what it contributes to the series, how it exists, as a standalone experience. It's really fascinating. Like I watched full 7 hours over 2 days and I was like thoroughly enthralled.
Sure.
So I dived into a lot of other a lot of his other essays, and he did one quite recently on God of War.
Ooh.
And just seeing that like progression from it being a real edgy, aiming at boy teenagers type video game to what it is now it's remarkable when you see it broken down in that way, and makes the themes of the latest God of War even more fascinating. Like he brings up things that I never considered, like ever thought of. He has a very good like literature background, so he's able to compare things to very prominent tropes that you might have heard of in passing. Yeah, like Star Wars is based on the hero's journey as a trope, but he knows the hero's journey. Like he's read the book that defines the hero's journey.
It's called the hero's journey.
it's fascinating to hear him talk about games. So I would 100%.
I'll check him out.
Anyone. Yeah, all of his videos are pretty long. Like this God of War one is like, I think, nearly 3 hours.
Shit.
Yeah, but they're good. His one on Death Stranding is fascinating.
Oh my god,
really interesting. There are things of that story that I didn't pick up that he did. So yeah, real good. Real good. He's also just kind of funny. Like in the Resident Evil one, he's now slogged through like because Resident Evil starts off real good, and then it has its lull in the middle, like after 4. And then when he finally gets to 7, he's like, we fucking made it. And it's like 6 hours into this video, and he's just so happy that he's done with the bullshit of those other games.
Hilarious.
Yeah, very good. Very good.
Cool. I'll check that out.
Yeah.
Just games.
Let's check my chat. Yeah. Oh, geez. I didn't even realize we're like 14 minutes into this episode. My God.
13.
What happened?
It's fine. Got the time stamps.
What is time anyway? Let's check my chat. Talk about video games and the marvels of modern computing. I'm actually, while I say that, I'm busy playing with a keyboard switch.
Oh, no.
I got a new keyboard and I had to lube more switches to fix it.
Oh, wow.
And I ended up breaking one. So now I just put a keycap on it and now it's like my little fidget toy.
That's amazing.
And it drives Shani insane because I sit here at my desk and just go tick, 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 tick. It's like...
I can't even hear it, but I'll take your word for it.
I love it. It's a really fun little fidget toy.
Speaking of games and time, what a good segue. It's like you planned that.
Oh, totally planned it. So you've been playing Outer Wilds, but you still want to?
Yeah, I wanna wrap things up. So because I mean we sort of just touched on it briefly last week, without going into spoilers, but I wanna. I don't know if you can roll credits in this game. I presume there is something you can trigger that does that. But I want to finish it and then have like a proper discussion with you where we just talk about everything, like spoiler territory, that.
I actually kind of want to finish it again because I don't remember a lot of the end of that game because I played that game just on the literal eve of E3, so my memory is a bit like squashed. So I kind of want to play it so I can actually have a discussion with you.
So I mean, how many times have I messaged you in the last like week or so where I'm like, I can't believe this happened. I can't believe this is what's happening, whatever. And you're like, wait, did that happen?
I'm like, shit. That. Oh yeah, that makes. Yeah, I'm like, oh man, I remember that. Yeah, I literally edited that review while I was standing in the line to get on a plane to E3. So that's how real fucking close cut that was.
Shit.
So yeah, I do need to play it again, but I have started playing it again, and I feel like I'm getting through it at a brisker pace because I'm like, okay, I know where to go.
You know all the tricks of the trade, and
at least at the beginning, I'm like, I remember what to do.
Yeah,
and I've fallen into that stupid black hole 3 times already, and I hate everything. Yeah. But I've been playing a game which I don't know if it's directly influenced or not, because I know it's based off of a mod that's been in development for a while. But it follows the same sort of style, put it that way. So it's called the Forgotten City. It's out now on Steam. It was developed by like 4 people. I think the opening to the game is like, this is a passion project for 4 people.
I think it was a Skyrim mod.
That's right. Yeah, I think it was a Skyrim mod. I think you're right. So the premise, which isn't really a spoiler because it becomes part of the overall mechanics, is that you are stuck in a time loop. You are a person from the modern day who's washed up in this river. You were like pulled out by someone, and you're asked to go investigate these ruins nearby where someone else went to investigate and they haven't come back. And you quickly find yourself transported back to ancient Rome. Like
Hail Caesar.
Like during the times of Jesus Christ, as in if you mention Jesus, people are like, whoa, those cultists, whoa,
Shit.
Stuff like that. But you are basically in this city that is in the mountains, this like city that no one's ever heard of, and that no one can seem to leave. Everyone there seems to have gotten there by chance, and there's actually no way for them to escape. So it almost seems like a prison. But what makes this city fascinating is that it's governed by what all the residents call the Golden Rule, which is like this. I don't know who controls it, but essentially, if anyone in the city commits a sin, like any sort of sin, so thievery, murder, bribery, blah blah blah, then everyone in the city gets turned to gold.
And you just loot them and you run away.
Well, you turn to gold too. You just die. So it's sort of like the Romans had this the Roman legionaries had this idea called decimation, where to keep their armies in line, if they had any deserters, what they'd do was they'd get platoons of 10 people to all draw straws, and the one in the 10 with the short straw would have to be beaten to death by the other 9. So it was a way to be like, if a single person goes against the system, then it's not that single person that will get punished. It is the collective that is punished. And that's sort of like the idea that this game is based around. Like, it doesn't matter who in the city commits the sin. Everyone will be punished. So everyone kind of keeps everyone else in check.
In line. Okay.
And
my goodness.
The idea is that in the present time, this has already happened. Like, before you get teleported to, back then, you walk past loads of golden statues of people. So it's clearly the golden rule was enacted. And even in the past, there are golden statues of people. So it stands to reason that this golden rule is passed on a previous civilization that was in that same place. So you're tasked by the magistrate there to kind of figure out. He is aware of the time loop. He is the one that apparently knows that if the golden rule is enacted, he has to perform a ritual that allows someone to travel through time. So he is the only one aware of like your purpose and that you come from the future. And he wants you to try and figure out who commits the sin before they commit the sin so they can stop it.
Sure. That's a very, very cool premise.
It's really, really cool. And I've just scratched the surface of it. I've played about an hour and a bit. I've heard the game isn't super long. It's about 6 hours. But it's very conversation heavy. So most of what I'm doing is walking to people around the city and talking to them. How do they get to the city? Do they know of an escape? What is their role? What do they think of things? And trying to formulate like patterns between people to see if, firstly, why is everyone there and why are they trapped there and how did they come to be there? And also then trying to figure out who will eventually commit a sin that leads to. It's interesting. There's like, so you have like a journal of like threads to follow. And one of the threads was I had to try and get medicine to this nurse. But the only one who had this medicine was this merchant who he had found a loophole. He wasn't bribing me for it, but he was like price gouging the medicine so high that it was like impossible for anyone to buy. So I was like, okay, well, I'm just going to wait till he goes around the corner and then steal it. And I didn't realize that even if no one saw me, that this omnipotent God would realize that I stole it. So as soon as I stole it, everything goes black and white and people start turning to gold. And I have to like rush to the entrance to this place so I can loop back in time. And I was like, okay, this game is actually playing with my assumptions for how a game works. You know what I mean? Like, I thought I was above the law, and I'm not. I am
no one's
100%
above the law.
beholden. Yeah, I'm 100% like beholden to the same laws that all the other NPCs are. So I cannot fuck around here. You know what I mean? So it's cool. It's like a mystery that's like unraveling slowly, but it's got some quirky writing. Like, I'm a bit taken aback by how many different accents there are for the voice actors if they're all meant to be Roman. Like, some sound like Cockney British, some sound like they're French. It sounds real weird. But then there's moments in the writing that are really endearing. Like, there's this one lady where I'm basically explaining to an ancient Roman what memes are.
Oh my God.
Because I basically told her about the woman that I met in the present time called Karen. And the Roman lady's like, you didn't find it curious that her name was Karen? And then I'm like, well, in my time, that name has negative connotations. And she's like, but why? It's like, because of the memes. Yeah. And she's like, what are memes?
Oh my
and I'm
God.
just like, this is fucking incredible. And then eventually she comes to like the conclusion that memes are like ancient hieroglyphs with negative connotations to the word Karen. And I was like, this is perfect.
Sounds about right.
Just
so
good.
Very, very quick 5-second tidbit. The name Karen, down. A lot of parents are no longer naming their kids Karen for that very reason.
Shocked.
Yeah.
Not shocked.
So there's going to be a period in history where there's just very minimal Karens.
We'll find another name. It's fine.
Yeah.
We'll live in, and then Karen will be expunged of its negativity, and we'll be fine.
That'll be the unique thing.
But it's moments like those that make me like really intrigued by this game, because it's not pretending that, like, it is fully self-aware of how ludicrous its premise is.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so I think it's cool that I have dialogue options to be like, I'm from the future, I'm not trying to pretend to be anyone I'm not. And the fact that I can point out very explicitly to characters that this is ridiculous, and for them to not react in like fear or anything, but just kind of like curiosity is fascinating. Like, there's a tailor in the city who looks at my clothes and is like, those are exquisite clothes, such fine stitching, such this. And it's like, I'm probably wearing like fucking cargo pants or something, And if I pull out my flashlight and shine it at someone, they go, that's a curious lamp. Praise Apollo. And I'm just like, this is great. This is so good.
Amazing.
So it's cool. I quite like it. It's also got a really interesting way to prevent like repetition of dialogue. So when the loop starts again, obviously people haven't met you for the first time, but you will talk to them and you can very quickly go, we've had this conversation before, I know who you are. And they go, oh, maybe my memory is faltering,
Nice.
So, and then it like jumps you straight back to where you can ask them other questions, which it can be a bit jarring. Like, you're like, oh, that doesn't seem a bit believable. But at the same time, it understands that, hey, if you had to do this constantly over and over
Yeah.
again, it would get very tiring.
Yeah.
So it's a good concession. I'm digging it.
That's cool. I'm keen to check it out at some
Yeah,
stage.
it's on PC.
Is it on Game? I don't think it's on Game Pass. Could be wrong.
I don't know if it's on console. Let me check the
Forgotten City. Although I think it is cheap on PC anyway. Forgotten City.
Yeah, it's cheap on PC. Oh, it's on PlayStation 4, 5, Xbox One, Xbox Series X, Switch, and
150 Rand on
it's
Steam.
on all them platforms. It's very good. It's one of those games that like I saw people talk about, and then I was like, this sounds interesting. Yeah. And I'm having a good time so far. So cool. Hopefully I'll finish that and Outer Wilds by next week.
Oh my god.
Got a lot to do.
So much to do. Well, I think at the very least with Outer Wilds, you'll know better than me, but it'll come back to you and you'll have an idea of like where you should be going and in what order, if that's what you have to do. But man, I'm so excited to talk about that game because it's just, the more I play it, the more I'm gasping, going, wow, I can't believe this. But yeah, I think
I love all your messages being like, oh, I found this, I found that. I'm just like, man, it's so cool to see that sense of discovery, like, again in someone else.
But I think the Forgotten City, in terms of the whole timing thing, it's similar formula in that regard, where like you start to loop again and you know where to go, or if you've spoken to someone before, or if you've done a thing before, you're like, I can, or you use that as like a context for, where to go next. Like, I know this happens at this time. Now I need to do something. John, we'll talk about that next week. It's too good, man. It's too good. But yeah, you haven't really played anything else this week.
I've been every now and then. What I can just briefly touch on, I got one of these things for audio listeners. I'm holding up a Backbone controller.
Backbone. I actually wanted to ask you, so you got that for your phone, right? Obviously.
Yeah, but
Are you using xCloud?
No. I'm doing remote streaming from my Xbox. Okay. Yeah.
So I wasn't sure. I was like, we don't have xCloud.
No, we don't have xCloud. But basically, what this is, I mean, you've seen many of these things. They're just like phone cradles to turn them into a sort of like Switch-like. But I've seen a lot of people talk about this one specifically, especially in the States. People raving about this thing, and I can see why now. Firstly, it's like super comfortable. Like the ergonomics of this thing are crazy good. Like the buttons feel great. It feels great in my hand. It clips onto the phone really easily. Really, really nice. The thing that makes this special, which I think most other products of this ilk don't have, is it has its own app and software. And what that does is it collects all the games on your phone that have controller support and all the apps that allow for remote streaming into one collective place. So when you press this like orange button, which is sort of like your Xbox or PlayStation button, that brings up the app on your phone. And then from there, I can launch Xbox remote streaming or PlayStation streaming or jump into
Apple Arcade,
Genshin Impact or something that. And it looks like a console interface. So it feels like I'm interacting with like a Nintendo Switch interface or whatever.
Amazing.
It also has its own button for captures. So you can capture screenshots and gameplay like you do on consoles just using this a button. You don't have to like be all finicky with it or whatever. It's kind of incredible. Like it really feels like my phone turns into a console when I have it. And so I've been playing Hades like at my desk with remote streaming on this thing. I played a bit of Genshin Impact. And I played some Sky from that game company.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, very, very cool. It's $100. It's not cheap. But I think for what you get in terms of build and the software, it's really cool. And eventually when we get cloud streaming here, or if we don't, like just being able to play my Xbox in bed, comfortably, very, very cool. And I guess I could play Forgotten City with this because I could use it for Steam streaming. Yeah.
How is the delay though on your phone? Is it there?
There's delay for sure. I mean, over a home network, it's not as bad as I assume cloud streaming will be. But I can play Hades just fine.
Nice.
Eventually, I think the delay is small enough that eventually my brain accounts for it.
You
So
get used to it.
but I mean, it's not ideal for shooters. Like,
No.
I played some Halo and it's like it's possible, definitely, but it's not great.
Yeah.
It's definitely for games that are a bit slow paced, which makes Hades really weird because that's like very far. I'm pretty sure I'd do better at Hades on the TV than I would like on this
for
thing.
Sure. Yeah.
But yeah, it's cool. Like playing Forgotten City on this would be perfect because it's like slow paced.
Yeah. Could play Outer Wilds on that.
Yeah, could. Definitely could.
Except you're going to fall into the black hole all the time because you miss time to jump or something.
Constantly.
Yeah, but that's cool. So
what have you been playing this week?
My weekend game. So again, not going to talk about Outer Wilds, but what I will just do a quick catch up on is a little game I spoke about a few months ago, maybe more than a year ago. Phasmophobia, which is, just to recap, a cooperative ghost hunting game. That's what they should put in the box, where you basically have to go investigate houses, collect evidence on a ghost, and leave while surviving to get paid to buy more gear to hunt more ghosts. That's the loop in a nutshell. But the game, I don't think it's officially out. It's still like in alpha or beta.
Is it still in early access?
Yeah, it's like an early access build still.
Okay.
So when we played it however many months ago, whatever, it's still very rough around the edges. And even today, there are still some niggles. But we decided to dive back in because there have been some pretty significant updates since we last played. Just simple things. So for example, way back when, if a ghost started hunting, you would just hide in a bedroom and the ghost would never come in because the door's closed. That doesn't happen anymore.
Damn. Who knew that ghosts would be flummoxed by doors?
It's very gamey in that way, where you can break the game because it's limited by certain rules. Like, oh, there's a door closed, this ghost can't get through the door. But obviously that's since changed, where my brain this week was like, oh shit, the ghost is hunting. I'm going to go hide in this room, but just to be extra safe, I'm going to hide in the bathroom as well. There's 2 barriers. The ghost isn't going to get here. And much to my surprise, I heard the bedroom door open. I was like, oh shit, this ghost is in the room. But it's fine, I'm in the bathroom. And then the bathroom door opened and I died.
Rip.
So they've just been some tweaks to the formula and just general improvements overall that have made the game better as a result. And it's not there yet. Like it's still early access. I think I think it's a 1-person dev.
Really? Is it only one person?
If the dev has since outsourced stuff, or if they're just running solo. I'm sure they still have plans to add more to this game because there is a limited pool of maps and whatnot. But just in general, the improvements they've made, like with that ghost change, it's pretty significant. And also just immense to ghost behavior that they maybe not as dumb, I guess. Like we died a whole lot this week, which is a problem because when you die, you lose the gear you take into the hunt. So
I was going to ask. So I watched very briefly some of the stream when you were playing this, and I noticed there's like this whole like economy going on there. How does that work?
So so if you boot the game up for the first time, you'll start with, I'm going to thumbs up, let's say $50. Okay, so you can use that to buy like a flashlight and maybe an EMF reader, whatever. So you go to a house.
Yes, that's an expensive flashlight. Holy shit.
$50 is like nothing. But you use your limited gear to get some. You're not going to get full evidence of the ghost, or maybe you will, depending on what you buy. And depending on how accurate you predict what ghost is in the house, you get a better payout. Like that's what dictates it.
Okay.
So the formula is, you go to a house, you've got a journal, and you have to try find 3 pieces of evidence which will narrow down, the ghost type to one specific kind. So as a dumb example, if I go to a house and I get a 5 reading on the EMF reader, I find fingerprints via UV light, and the ghost talks to me through a spirit box. That's 3
dangerous,
pieces of
searching a random house with UV light. Don't know what you're going to find there.
Yeah, you never know. But then I put that in my journal to be like, this ghost is a spirit now.
Wait, hold on. Do ghosts go through several phases, or is it a
No.
specific type of ghost
Sorry,
all the time?
it's specific identifiers. Like for example, a demon will only give these kinds of evidence. And I found these kinds of evidence.
Demon, wow. Okay.
Yeah, so I can leave the house safely and I'll get a payout, based on how accurate I predict. So if you predict right, you'll get like everyone in your team will get, say, $50 to $100. And there are other side objectives in that, you'll get bonus money if you witness a ghost event or if you survive a ghost hunt. Like there are different other things to pursue to, boost your payout at the end. But you obviously have to try juggle, finding evidence from the ghost and obviously not dying.
And not dying.
If you die, you lose all the gear you take into the hunt and you get like very little money compensation. It's actually hilarious. It's like if you die with a lot of gear, it's like, oh shit, like I lost my camera and my EMF reader, this. And it's like on the payout screen, it says something like insurance, $10. Like, well, that's not going to cover everything. I died.
Welcome
like,
to the real world.
Like, come on.
So I assume because you're playing cooperatively, like you don't want everyone buying an EMF reader and everyone buying a camera.
So it's very cool in that way, and that's a lot. My friends have played a lot more, so they have a bigger pool of money to draw from. So they end up like.
Is it persistent?
Yeah. So you. There's like a ranking system, everything.
I thought it was sort of like a roguelike. Like this is a ghost hunt, so you start from scratch here.
Oh no. So like we dive back in, and not a ranking system. There's a leveling system. So the game is tiered off in the sense that when you start, you'll be level 1. You'll only be offered like the most basic of ghost hunts, whatever. But as you level up, you get to go visit more places. You can up the difficulty. So when we dived in, it's like, I laugh because John Michael had, say something stupid like $600 and the rest of us were poor. He basically funded that whole ghost hunt. So like,
what a man, what a champ.
Keeping him alive was very important because if he dies, we lose all the gear. And needless to say, we got a very good clip of him. A friend and I are hiding in a room, and outside we hear poor John Michael walking, like saying, like, "Help! The sting's attack! Like it's on me." And the last words he says before he dies is like, "My gear," because you're going to lose it, obviously. But I suppose
I love that. That gives like so many stakes to each hunt. That's
exactly
fantastic.
I really look. The game can be very scary, but when you get into its loop, it becomes more fun than scary because it's fun to see what will happen to you or your friends. Like what is this ghost going to do? And it's made even more entertaining by the fact that like if you use the in-game communication system,
yes,
so we obviously mute our Discord, and you either get proximity chat or walkie-talkie chat. So when the ghost is hunting, your walkie-talkie doesn't work anymore. So if you have someone in the van, for example, like monitoring activity, and they no longer hear you talking to the walkie-talkie, they're like, "Oh shit, the ghost is hunting."
Okay. So are there periods where the ghost isn't hunting, where you are a bit more free?
So on the lower difficulties, when the first 5 minutes, it's sort of like it's safe. You can go collect evidence as best as you can. The ghost might pop up, but it's not going to hurt you per se.
Okay.
But on the higher difficulty, like we tried professional, which was a big mistake. The moment you open the door, thank you. Oh, I got a coffee.
Ooh, coffee. Look at that service.
Thank you. The moment you start a hunt, the ghost is hunting already, basically. The moment you open the door, the ghost is aggressive.
It's waiting at the door for you. Like,
it's waiting. But look, there's still like balancing and things that need to improve. But overall, it's kind of incredible how it's balanced in that you need to make the choice of, oh shit, so-and-so has died. Like we still need just a bit of evidence. Maybe we can get a photo of the ghost to get that extra bit of money, but there's that risk of if we go in there, and when the ghost hunts, the front door locks. You can't leave the house until the ghost stops hunting. So it's like a risk reward of like, we got some evidence we could maybe guess, but poor John Michael died. Like we can't let him die in vain. We need to go and solve this murder.
And there's never a objective to kill the ghost or capture.
Oh
the ghost.
So there are some side objectives of like stop the ghost from hunting with a crucifix, but that's like That's like
it's
a
like a
once
temporary
off.
thing.
Yeah, you can never just, stop the ghost from doing its thing. There's one objective where it's like cleanse the area with smudge sticks, which
What?
I don't know if that, delays the ghost hunting, but that's an objective as well.
What's a smudge stick?
I don't know. It's a ghost hunting tool, I guess.
Sounds like crayons that
It
smudge
sounds
in
like
your hands or something.
I mean, when you light it, it's a bit like what's the word I'm looking for? Not, I've gone blank now. Like a scent candle. What is it called?
Like
now?
incense.
Incense, that's it. Yeah, it's like incense.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. But I'm very keen. It's like, this is a game I've enjoyed visiting every few months purely because I'm like, oh, like there's a new map, for example. There's some changes that have been made. There's, stricter difficulties.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just very keen to see how this person keeps adding to this game and improving it. It's like, I do wonder, maybe at some stage they'll add more tools to identify more evidence because there'll be more ghosts or that sort of thing. Or there'll just be new maps, or I don't know. That's just,
Yes, yeah.
Very, very cool
Awesome.
game.
That's very cool. Like I said, I watched a little bit and I've seen it being played, but I didn't realize that like it had this sort of depth and progression. I had no idea. Yeah, I really thought it was a session based thing. Like we are going to hunt this ghost and we're starting from scratch, type of thing.
Yeah, it's a good time. Would recommend.
Very cool. Very, very cool. Anything else?
No,
aside from Phasmophobia and Outer Wilds.
That's me this week.
What did you stream on Tuesday?
Dota and then Trackmania.
Okay, at least one of those games are good.
This one of them is good. Trackmania. Look, I've still been plugging away Trackmania. It's a good time.
Now
matchmaking is.
Now you've got your wife involved as well.
She loves it.
She's deep into that Trackmania.
Yeah, that matchmaking system is just
it's
chef's
fantastic.
kiss. It's
it really
great.
is fantastic. Should we move on to games releases then? This is quite early for this.
I was just going to say, this is the first week in a long time where, so the last few timestamps I've had have always been, we do game releases just shy of an hour. This is 42 minutes-ish.
Good 15 minutes ahead, yeah.
Look at this, nice.
On time. We are looking at games releasing from today, August 14th until August 20th. Fuck me.
Good Lord.
What is time anymore?
Who knows?
August 14th.
You're gonna blink,
to
it's going to be
August
December.
20th. Quite a few games. Oh, wow. Yeah, quite a few games. Games I'm real keen on. Okay, so August 16th, we've got Road 96. If I'm not mistaken, this is like a narrative adventure, which... Let me just double check before I make a fool of myself. Road 96.
96.
Is this... Yes, okay, I was right. Road 96 is a crazy, beautiful road trip, the discovery of exciting places and unusual people on your own personal journey to freedom. An ever-evolving, story-driven adventure inspired by Tarantino, the Coen brothers, and Bong Joon-ho. Made by the award-winning creators of Valiant Hearts and Memories Retold. So, if I'm not mistaken...
Valiant Hearts was that... the
UbiArt game.
That UbiArt World War I game. Yeah, I love that game.
So, it's if I'm not mistaken, this has themes of like, like overworking with big capitalist corporations. So, like, the Amazons and your Googles and like what it means to be a cog in that sort of machine. So
it's really pretty, damn.
But it's extrapolated over a like road trip.
Okay.
With characters, so yeah, it looks real cool.
Damn, how do you go from Valiant Hearts to this? Because Valiant Hearts was like that, like very hand drawn 2D-esque. Was it 2D or 3D?
It was 2D, yeah.
It was 2D, yeah.
Yeah, that and Child of Light, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, Child of Light. Did you play Child of Light?
I haven't.
What a damn
Sadly
game.
not.
I loved that game.
So yeah, that's out August 16th on PC and Switch. Then we've got Humankind, which is if I'm not mistaken, like a sim strategy game. It's out on PC August 17th. It's also coming to Game Pass on that day. For PC, obviously. Then we got, I want to say Greek, but it's spelled Greek. Greek. Memories of Azure, coming to PC, PS5, Xbox Series, and Switch, August 17th. Ambition, Minute of Power? Is that Minute?
Minutes in
it's
power.
Not Minute, yeah. Minute in Power, sorry. Coming to PC, August 18th. Zool Redimensioned. There are no games, there is only Zool.
A game for Lenska, Hull Architect. Here we go.
I wonder if that's similar to, like Prison Architect.
Yeah, I was also thinking that. Let's see.
Hell Architect, let's see. No, it doesn't seem like it. Well, it seems like oh god, this looks awful. Good lord. I'm just looking at some of the promotional art for this, and this looks
literally build and manage your hull. So for audio listeners, if you've played Fallout Shelter, it looks sort of that kind of view with different rooms and whatever, but you're building
hull. It looks
hull.
very, very similar.
Nice. Plus 32 suffering.
My goodness. It's quite graphic. It's like cartoony, but it's very graphic. It's
my god, put some clothes
intense.
On people.
Yeah.
Jeez.
My goodness, this actually makes me feel uneasy. It's like, which I guess is part of the
that's part of the
point.
charm.
So,
there you go.
So that's coming out on PC August 18th. Probably my most anticipated game for this week. 12 Minutes, finally out.
I'm curious about this game.
PC, Xbox One, Xbox Series X. So
and
this is
on Game Pass, FYI.
Yeah. It's another time loop game, if I'm not mistaken. It's like
good lord. Time loops are
you've got to solve like a mystery within 12 minutes.
My goodness.
But yeah, it's got a stellar cast. It's got
actors,
Willem Dafoe.
Oh
man, what's his name? From X-Men. Oh, why have I gone blank?
That guy. Is it James McAvoy?
James McAvoy, yeah. McAvoy. And then Daisy Ridley. From Star Wars, yeah. Damn. So, yeah, another Annapurna published game.
Oh, is it Annapurna?
Well, it's Annapurna published, yeah. Also, ported or development work done by 24-bit Games here in Johannesburg.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
So that's cool. So yeah, I'm excited for that.
The time loop games are definitely the MOBAs of 2021, it seems. It's just...
The Veil, Shadow of the Crown, PC, Xbox One.
Is this a game about Edenvale?
Yeah, The Veil. The Crown of Edenvale.
It's the Veil.
Got to choose a new king and queen of Edenvale. Good lord.
It's actually a racing game. You're fighting for...
My goodness. Rims Racing.
Rims Racing, there you go.
PC, PS4, Xbox, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series, and Switch. Oh, I didn't realize this was out this week. Recompile. This is like a Metroidvania set within like a computer system. You are like a programmer.
I think you sent me a trailer for this.
Looks cool. Looks very visually beautiful. So, yeah. I didn't realize that was out so soon.
My goodness. You ready for this? Got Ghost of Sushi.
Yeah, Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut, PS4 and PS5, August 20th. So that's the Director's Cut has the new island, the island of Ishikawa, I think it is. So, and apparently that's the same size as the game's first act, which is quite big.
That's pretty big, yeah. So you're looking probably like 5 to 10 hours of
easily,
primary content.
Easily.
Yeah.
And also the PS5 upgrade, which if you don't want the new content, you still have to pay $10 for the PS5 upgrade. Yeah.
Why?
Yeah. Well, you know why it is, because it's this version being sold on PS5 is $70. So they don't want people to buy the PS4 version and get a free upgrade for $10 less. Yeah.
Well, okay,
that's
then.
legitimately how that's working. So
sure.
Yeah. Arietta of Spirits, PS4, PS5, hold on. PC, PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and that's it, yeah. August 20th. I was about to say and August 20th. That's not a platform. Then we've got Madden NFL 22. PC, PS4, PS5, all Xbox One, Xbox Series. That means games are about to start releasing. As soon as Madden comes out, that's when shit really kicks into overdrive. So.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
That's games out this week.
That's gained quite a bit. Lots of good stuff to spend your money on just before payday.
Mm-hmm. Shall we get to game news?
Hells yeah.
So now we couldn't decide before we started recording what to lead with. What is your gut tell
Nintendo,
you?
let's do
Should we
it.
do Nintendo. Bam.
Yes.
I told you.
It's
Just
done.
on the moment you'll know. So there was a little Nindy Direct this week, which I completely missed. It was funny because I think you sent me something. I was like, oh cool, when's that happening? Like it happened.
Yeah, it happened like 2 days ago.
I was like, what? How did I miss this?
Yeah, so it was a new, what do they call them now? Indie World stream.
Yeah.
So not specifically indies only coming to Switch, but they showcase them as if they're only coming to Switch, really. Lots of cool games and also lots of shadow dropped games, which was quite surprising. So Polygon's got a rundown of everything that was there, so we'll just go through that. Bomb Rush Cyberpunk, it's coming to Nintendo Switch. This is developed by Team Reptile, who also made Lethal League. And it's basically got a lot of the people who worked on Jet Set Radio back in the day. They've even got the composer back. Yeah, I mean, I've been super stoked for this game ever since it was announced because I'm like, yes, we definitely should get a new Jet Set Radio. I love Jet Set Radio Future specifically. But then I looked at the gameplay and I'm like, this is straight up almost like a remake of Jet Set Radio. Like even the levels look eerily like the same.
Really?
And I'm like, that game is real old. So if it's just like the same shit, it needs to iterate on that. So
yeah, it needs to pull a God of War.
Yeah, I'm still keen. I'm still curious, but hoping that it's more than just a remember that shit from 20 years ago, type thing. So
I love the name though, Bomb Rush Cyberpunk.
Yeah, it's such a bizarre name. It really is.
It's like take 3 words, 4 words, and just smash them together and see what you come up with.
I mean, Jet Set Radio made sense. It was the name of an actual radio station in game, and it was like a pirate radio station for rebel rollerbladers. Okay, it doesn't make much sense. It makes more sense than Bomb Rush Cyberpunk.
Maybe the rebel rollerbladers, called Cyberpunk, and they're rushing to plant bombs. There we go.
They're not even. They've upgraded from just graffiti to bombs. My goodness. So that's coming out to Switch and other platforms in 2022. One of my favorite games of this year, Loop Hero, coming to Switch this holiday. You haven't played Loop Hero yet,
have
you?
not, but let me tell you, this is a game that I think would just be at home on Switch like every other damn game.
I'm curious to see how this UI works on Switch because, boy, there's a lot going on.
Teeny tiny.
Yeah. It's a lot going on in the UI, so yeah, curious. But if you don't know what Loop Hero is, it's sort of like a card-based RPG where the cards you use aren't directly influencing your attacks. You are essentially building out a level using cards. And you are building it out in a way that you optimize the loop that your hero goes around. Another one of those games where the hero is well aware of the roguelike nature that you are stuck in, which makes the story quite interesting. So yeah, it's a really good game. I really enjoy that. So
nice. A new Shovel Knight game. Which
I totally forgot this game existed.
Yeah, I had no idea it was even coming out. Because they did, didn't they do a game recently, like this year or last year?
So they made a game called Shovel Knight Dig, which was sort of like it was a phone, sort of like a phone Shovel Knight where you're moving up and down. Essentially,
okay.
It's not like a traditional side-scrolling adventure. So they are definitely working with Shovel Knight in new avenues, and this is one of them. So this is like a sort of like a match 3 dungeon crawler, puzzle dungeon crawler as they call it. It had already been announced, but now there's a Switch version, so that's cool.
Bam. I think this
I still
is
love the
something-
art. I think the art is really nice.
Shovel Knight is a real gem. Like a modern day. I mean, Shovel Knight's old now, but a modern day a good modern day retro game.
Well, it was the first game I played on my Switch, and I really liked it.
Yeah, it is actually one of the first games I played on my Switch as well. Now, this is something you're excited for.
Hell yeah, Tetris Effect coming to Nintendo Switch. I mean, put Tetris Effect on all the platforms. It's already on PlayStation, PC, and Xbox. But having a Tetris game of this caliber on the go, fuck yes. I'm super stoked.
I have not played this game yet, believe it or not. So,
dude, it's so good. Like, I'm curious to see it on Switch because, like, the game does have loads of, like, pixel effects and shit going on. But it's amazing. And this this is Tetris Effect connected, so it does have the competitive and cooperative multiplayer modes included.
Goddamn.
But yeah, this game is weird because it's got such an incredible soundtrack, but the soundtrack only works while you're playing because it incorporates your moves into the melody. So listening to it outside of the game feels super weird.
But I find that with some gaming soundtracks, it feels kind of, I mean, this is very rare, but sometimes it feels kind of flat when it doesn't have the context of what's happening in the game.
Yes.
I'm like, this was much better to play through than to just sit and listen.
That's essentially what happened.
My goodness.
So as part of this announcement, Nintendo also announced that Term and Metal Slug Tactics, which is that turn-based. It looks like Into the Breach, but Metal Slug. They're also coming to Switch. Metal Slug is only coming out next year. But Tetris Effect Connected is coming out October 8th. And I will 100% play that.
I'm very curious about that Metal Slug.
Yes, I'm so keen.
Yeah.
So keen to give it a go, yeah. This game looks incredible.
So I've heard so much about Eastwood, but I don't actually know what the hell it is.
Yeah, so it was announced in 2019, way back when. And it's published by Chucklefish, Stardew Valley, Risk of Rain, Starbound, Wargroove, all those good games. A lot of people have described it as similar to Mother, the famous Nintendo series. So it's like an action adventure in a very stylized, like 2D world. It almost looks like Junkyard World.
This is very cool.
It looks really good. And the soundtrack, oh my God.
Eastwood. So is this an RPG?
As far as I can tell, yes. It's not like turn-based, I don't think, but it looks very much like an action RPG.
Yeah.
Because if you look near the end, you can see like action happening in real time. So yeah. So that's coming out on September 16th. So that's soon. And then there were 7 games that were shadow dropped during the event. Some of which were quite big. Yeah, Axiom Verge 2 out now. You can go buy it like now.
You played the first Axiom Verge, eh?
I haven't yet. I really want to because now that I've finished Symphony of the Night, which I can't even remember if I spoke about the ending or finishing that, but fuck, that game's great. Like, so good.
Don't remember either.
Yeah,
to be honest.
Anyway, that game, phenomenal.
It's a good time.
But yeah, Axiom Verge 1 is very much a game of that ilk, Metroidvania-ish, and Axiom Verge 2, I've heard, is less Metroidvania, or less Metroid, more Vania, so more exploration. So yeah, that's out now.
Cool.
Also out now on Switch that, was announced then is Boyfriend Dungeon, another big indie that's been in development for a long time. Note that a lot of these games are on other platforms too, like
not Switch exclusive.
Axiom Verge is also on PlayStation and the Epic Game Store. So Boyfriend Dungeon, which is on Game Pass as well. Necro Barista Final Pour, which is a fantastic name for the game. Garden Story, which looks really cool. Sort of like, management type of sim and RPG melded into one. Islanders Console Edition, a very chill city builder. I played it on PC. I quite enjoyed it. Slime Rancher Plortable Edition, which is cute. Amazing. Slime Rancher is fun. So I like it's again another really chill game. Very cute, very cool art style. It's if you haven't it's on Xbox and it's great. Curious Expedition 2 also. And then we've got a bunch of release dates for some other Switch ports. So we've got the Astroneer coming
nice.
to Switch. Man, Astroneer is a game either we need to play co-op on stream or you need to play with someone because you will love that game. I
didn't realize that game had co-op. I thought it was a single-player game.
I played it single player. It's definitely better co-op because you speed up a lot of the early stuff. Game, like getting set up. Yeah, it's great. And it's also one of those with like a central mystery. So there is a end point, you know what I mean?
Nice. Okay.
Then we've got 100 Days Winemaking Simulator. Okay, this winter.
I love that there are just simulators for everything. Like lawn mowing simulator came out last week, if I'm not mistaken.
Got Power Wash Simulator as well.
And it was amazing because Lenska, she's obviously heard of Farming Simulator and like those sorts of games. But I took her down the rabbit hole it was this week. She's like, okay, cool. Show me the trailer for like Euro Truck Driving Simulator because she's also heard of it. She's like, this actually looks kind of cool. I was like, please don't fall down this rabbit hole. Don't do it.
A lot of people find it very soothing.
It's cathartic. I mean, in Lawn Mowing Simulator, I watched the trailer. I was like, you literally mow lawns. But
those games are huge, eh? Farm Simulator is like one of the best-selling games in Europe. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Gang Beasts coming this winter. That's another game we should play.
Gang Beasts, my goodness.
And
Lumberjack.
Lumberjack.
I love the name.
So you're a bear?
Must be.
I have to look this up. Lumberjack. Lumberjack on Steam. Jack is a humble bear with a simple dream. To return nature to its former glory with the help of his trusty Atkins and his animal friends. Looks great.
Oh my goodness, how cute is this?
Yeah, it's very cute.
So this is, okay, well, my trailer's not playing, but from what I saw, look at that.
So it's not out. Yeah, it's only coming out in 2022. Looks very fun. Chop your way through forests, construction sites, and more exciting locations in a variety of puzzles which utilize elements in the world around you. Solve puzzles by tinkering with the environment. Reduce, reuse, and recycle waste to upgrade your chopping abilities. Save a quirky cast of animal friends and team up with them to save the day. Take down an evil corporation, dead set on destroying nature as we know it. Looks cool. Yeah, looks cool.
Yeah, planned release date 2022.
And then Far Changing Tides, which is a port of it's like an adventure, like survival game, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
So survival something. So yeah, lots of Nintendo goodness.
All the Nintendo stuff, yeah. Next up on news. Do you like Grand Theft Auto? Do you like the first 3 3D Grand Theft Autos? Because if so, this news is for you.
I think I was one of those people that always played them at friends but never owned them.
Never actually owned them, yeah.
Yeah, so I'd always. You know that thing where you'd go to a friend's house and you'd be like, damn, we can just fuck around in this game with cheats. We can do unlimited ammo.
Steal the car, get the tank. Do something.
Never did the actual missions. So yeah, that's my experience with these 3 Grand Theft Autos.
So yeah, GTA 3, Vice City, and San Andreas remasters reportedly in the works for release this year on Xbox, PlayStation, Switch, PC, and mobile. So now, I think that's cool for anyone looking to, relive that goodness from way back when. But I think it'll be interesting to play today purely because open world games have really come a long way since then. Those Grand Theft Autos, like I was telling you before we started recording, I distinctly remember seeing Grand Theft Auto 3 at a friend's house and being completely blown away by, oh my God, like this is a complete open world where I can go anywhere I want, which is, like you pointed out, it's a real cultural moment. Like imagine living that, whatever, But I think today those worlds will feel very empty in comparison to what we have. Like even Grand Theft Auto 5, which came out, oh my God, like at the end of the PS3, however many years ago.
2013.
Yeah, like even that was jam-packed with a whole lot of activities. That was 8 years ago. Like now, modern day, you've come to expect a lot more from Grand Theft Auto games. Like GTA 6, I think is going to be insane with the amount of detail that they stuff into that. But yeah, look, I'm still keen to see how they look. I mean, if I were to pick one, San Andreas is obviously the latest release out of those 3 and probably the the best out of all of them, I'd argue. And it was, I remember playing that. It was a fun GTA. You play as old CJ back in your hood, trying to, get your shit together. It was a good time.
It's probably before GTA 5 came out, it was probably the most recognizable GTA. Like, I feel like everyone knows San Andreas, and I think the GTA 5 going back and exploring more of San Andreas and Los Santos was really part of the game's appeal. So yeah, that's cool. I'm with you though. Like, the reports here say that they are remasters. They are definitely aiming to capture the same feel of these games, not remake them. Even though they're being apparently remastered in the Unreal Engine. The UI is going to be kept similar, although it will be like spruced up a little bit for bigger resolution screens. So it's definitely, it seems like it's more work than a let's up-res this thing, but not a remake. This isn't like GTA 5 but San Andreas. Is what I'm getting at. So yeah,
but
that's cool.
I do wonder if there will be any modern touches. Like, will you be able to hide behind cover, for example? I'm guessing maybe
because
not.
That only came in GTA 4.
That's I remember playing, weirdly enough, I remember playing Vice City, and just like standing in the open, like, how am I supposed to survive this? How does this work?
So
I'm curious to see.
That's cool. The thing that caught my eye on this was that Rockstar is reportedly using the performance of these remasters as a gauge to see whether they should remaster other games, including the first Red Dead Redemption. Which,
that's
listen,
good.
If they're going to do that, just put it in the fucking Red Dead Redemption 2 engine. Just give me that.
Yeah.
I didn't like Red Dead Redemption 2 that much. That's fine. I love the first game. Like, adore that first game. So having a way to play that with like spruced up graphics, I'm fucking there day one. So yeah.
Damn. What next on news? Shall we dive to one of your highlights, maybe? Frostpunk 2 announced for PC.
Yes, I've spoken about Frostpunk on this podcast before. This game, it marries like a survival sim and moral simulator really with a city building management game. So essentially the premise of the first game is a deathly winter has fallen, the planet, and civilization is kind of like broken down, and you are part of a last group of survivors trying to keep humanity alive. And as such, you have to make some hard decisions, like, do you put into law things like child labor? Do you execute like religious zealots who are like sowing seeds of doubt in your workforce? Do you, everything is based on warmth. So which sectors of your city do you keep warmer than others to prevent workers from getting sick? Stuff like that. It's really good. It makes you make some really challenging decisions in the pursuit of survival. So this sequel takes place 30 years after you've supposedly survived the winter. And it seems like the new resource that is going to be central is oil.
Oil.
So maybe using oil to
keep that generator
rebuild
going.
society, or something like that. So there's no release date, there was no gameplay, but fuck, if I'm excited I'm so excited for this game.
Look at this key art though. Jesus.
It's crazy. Yeah.
Hectic.
It really captures the vibe of this game. Like cold, like, really harsh gameplay elements. It's great. I think one of the coolest things about this game is that its sound effects and music can actually convey the feeling of being cold. Like, you play the game and you can, when the temperature drops or a spurt of even colder weather is coming in, you can feel that just through the audio. It's
nice.
Really, really good. Yeah, I'm excited for this game.
There we go. That's coming out. We actually don't have that much news this week, but we've got
Oh my god.
So, abandoned real-time experience app only contains a 5-second teaser. So, very quick.
Do you want to
recap.
run us through the history of Abandoned?
So, like in 10, 20 seconds, Abandoned is a game coming out which people have been suspecting is the Silent Hill remake. You know, there's ties to PT, there's ties to Kojima, but like we've seen over the past few months that maybe it's just a game that's coming out which the developer may or may not have played into the hype of, you know, people's expectations. Is it a Silent Hill? Anyways, people have been like, well, we want to see this game, like give us some sort of hint. And after a long time, we finally got a 5-second teaser, which I've not watched. So maybe, have you seen it? Have you given it 5 seconds?
It's just someone walking on a wooden floor. That's it.
Oh, here we go. Here's a teaser. Let's see.
It's real fun. You have to go into like a minute of this thing because this is like the whole app at the moment. There's a teaser. If you go back a little bit there, that was it.
Hang on,
so this whole app. So instead of releasing a video, this developer, Blue Box Games, I think they're called, made a big deal of like, we are putting out this app which features a new way to experience trailers, which they say is a real-time experience. Now, at first I was like, well, that's just a demo.
Like,
that's what it is. But it's actually worse than a demo because it's not you can't interact with it. It isn't gameplay. All it is instead of them recording gameplay and putting out a video, they are just rendering said gameplay in real time on your console. So the idea is like you can see how this is running on your console, but it's still non-interactive. So like it doesn't give you a sense of what the game is. So this app was meant to come out in like fucking June, I think.
Sure.
And it got delayed. It came out last week and it was broken. And they took a while to patch it. And then they finally get it up. And all there is this 5-second teaser and these like placeholders for more stuff coming soon. Like, this thing is 5 gigabytes. What the fuck is this?
So for audio listeners, we've got the first one released. It's called Introduction. And you've got more coming called Cinematic Reveal. Then just one called Trailer. And then another called Release Trailer. And then gameplay demos, gameplay demonstration 1, gameplay demonstration 2. So like, I think, look, the idea of having an app where you get to see things real time, like that's pretty novel, right? But wouldn't it have been better to be like, here, we'll put you in this one room, which you can explore, for example. Like, because then you get a sense of the mood, the lighting, the movement,
like PT.
You know.
PT was an hour-long demo.
Yeah, but you don't even need an hour-long demo. It's like you could literally put all your attention into one room, let people walk around it, have a look. Like that to me would be more like, oh, okay. Like this is a different kind of teaser. Yeah, it's not a 5-second logo. It's me getting to walk around, whatever. So this is just weird that it's like, I get the idea of like, this is rendered real time. This is so unique. But at the end of the day, it's like, I can just go to YouTube and watch this teaser.
I mean, they have said they're putting this out on YouTube as well. So it's like, I just don't get it. Like, and on top of it, I think the studio, they did a real Icarus. They flew way too close to the sun where they kind of invited the speculation that this was more than it was. And, they did things like tweet out like, Abandoned isn't actually the name of the game. It starts with an S and ends with an L. And everyone's like, Silent Hill.
Silent Hill, yeah.
Like, if you know that sort of attention is coming at you already, to stoke those fires and then turn around and say, whoa, the attention has really fucked up the perception of this game. Like, you can't do that. Like,
unless
I personally don't. No. I don't think this is a Hideo Kojima thing. I don't think this is this is anything other than an indie dev who's really fucked up like what they thought was a good idea. And I personally think like if you are taking months and months and months to put out what is essentially just a container for a demo, and that you struggle to release just this, how are you invoking a sense of like, how are people meant to trust that you can make a game if you're failing on these basic things? Like, it's a real bad advertisement for what eventually might be a game. It might not be. There's some really funny posts of people going, this thing is just going to fucking mine Bitcoin off your PS5 or something. So I don't know. It seems real sleazy at the moment, and the way they keep trying to draw attention to themselves while showing really nothing, and then complaining about the over-attention they get.
Yeah. So unless the game director comes out on video and he pulls his mask off and it's Kojima, and Kojima says, "Hey, this is a Scooby-Doo game." You go.
This is the real time. You just see Fred in a really realistic ascot. You see the orange of Velma's jersey.
Oh my god, this is a Scooby-Doo game set in the Stranding universe.
Oh dear God. Let me out of here. Let's go to the next news story. Just get me off this bus.
Let's get to more garbage quickly. So no surprise, more.
Oh God, yeah.
More Blizzard news this week. Diablo 4's game director is out. So I think this is Louis Barraga. Louis Barraga. I don't know how you want to pronounce it. And lead designer.
Is your Pora as well?
I don't know. And lead designer Jesse McCree departed in Battle Studio. So my first thing, I was like, Jesse McCree, is that not the same? Is that not the name of the Overwatch character? And turns out, yes.
Mm-hmm.
This dude is the namesake of the character of Overwatch's Good Cowboy, which makes me wonder. So these two have left, right? And I don't think there's details. I don't know if there's any details have come out other than they just no longer work there.
So the statement there you can read. We can confirm Louis Barraga, Jesse McCree, and Jonathan Lacraft no longer with the company. We have a deep and talented roster of developers already in place, and new leaders have been assigned where appropriate. We are confident in our ability to grow and progress, deliver amazing experiences to our players, and move forward to ensure a safe, productive work environment for all.
So, interestingly enough, I think, was it all three of them, or one or two of these people were also in that infamous Cosby suite photo that's been going around?
Yeah, so I don't know about the other two, but McCree was definitely in
He was there, yeah.
Yeah, and that was when I first heard his name. It was people going, oh, damn, the namesake for McCree is involved in this garbage Bill Cosby suite shit. So, yeah.
Yeah. So
it actually says that there in the article. Yeah.
But
he's been with Blizzard since 2005.
Which is just wild. I mean, after 16 years. But it does make me wonder, just in this specific instance, like, what do you do now with Overwatch? Do you just leave that character in there, or do you?
I think you rename it.
You rename them. You have
apparently,
to,
I saw articles where the Overwatch League commentators were being told or shying away from mentioning McCree by name as a character.
The High Noon character is currently...
But like I was saying before this recording, like, it's really shit that this, it's great that this is coming to light. No question about it. But, there's this weird situation now where you see all the moves that Blizzard as a company made to, retcon, yes, but make their characters more symbolic of like marginalized groups in Overwatch. You had like Soldier 76 being written as a gay character. You have the variety of like body types in Overwatch 2 and ethnicities of characters. And now you just constantly second guessing, was this done in good faith by people who believe in that? Or was it done as a performative thing while, using it as a shield to hide the garbage acts of people like Jesse McCree? So, I don't know. It's real shit, but the garbage keeps getting thrown out in Blizzard, and this is good. I did see late yesterday as well, Astro Gaming, the peripheral maker, long-time sponsors of the Call of Duty League. They actually, last year, signed a contract to keep them as principal sponsors till 2022. They've pulled out just ahead of the World Champs.
Interesting.
So that's the sort of shit that will perk up Bobby Kotick's ears.
Over time.
Yeah. And it's good. That is good. Like, if the only thing that people listen to is money, then that's how you get it done.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens next week with Blizzard.
This has honestly been an ongoing weekly thing since the lawsuit came out like a month ago now.
The revolving door of garbage there.
Yeah, but last piece of news, which we're doing a complete 180 in the garbage and turning to Idris Elba is now Knuckles in the Sonic movie sequel. This is so wild. So he tweeted.
You could have given me 100 guesses and I would have never guessed.
You'd never have guessed. But he tweeted knock knock, and then hashtag Sonic Movie 2, hashtag Knuckles, and then an image of Knuckles.
Yeah, Knuckles' famous hand. Gloves. Yeah. And then it was confirmed later on that he would be voicing Knuckles the Echidna in the sequel, which already features Tails. Although, if I'm not mistaken, the voice actor for Tails hasn't been announced. So, yeah, that's cool. Have you watched the Sonic movie?
I have not watched it yet.
It's fun. I watched it on a whim with Shani. We didn't go to the movies to watch it. We watched it well after release. And I got to the end of it and I was like, that was fun. That was,
well, I think if you go
it's juvenile and silly,
it's a Sonic
but it's
movie
cool.
Ultimately.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, I think the character redesign saved that film because throughout that movie, I was just picturing the old design in there and I was like, this would have been a very different movie if that had stayed in. So
I think also to look, I have not seen the movie, but I do think getting the talents of Jim Carrey was also very crucial.
Oh man, he hams it up crazy in that film.
Yeah, it is I think that's a great casting for that character.
Yeah.
So
100%, yeah. And he definitely gets his more video gamey look by the end of that film, and I'm keen to see him do more weird shit.
Stuff.
But Ben Schwartz as Sonic is real good. Yeah. Really, really good voice. And it's just fun. So keen to see more.
So let's end news on that little positive random nugget. That's all this week.
How long till it takes people wanting to fuck Knuckles the Echidna because it's voiced by Idris Elba?
God, don't know. I love the strapline here. Echidna, believe it.
Eurogamer is very good at their puns.
It's great.
Top tier pun game.
Amazing.
Very good.
Cool. Shall we get to questions?
Yes. If you want to send us questions, you can email us checkpointchatpodcast@gmail.com, or you can find us on all our social platforms at Checkpoint Chat on Twitter, on TikTok, on Instagram, on Facebook. Not OnlyFans. Not yet,
Not just OnlyFans. Sorry, let me just pull this up quickly. So we had an interesting exchange of questions from, we had MJ Khan who sent a question. He said, not really a question, but I'm still mad at how Tony Hawk, the game, handled its Xbox Series X upgrade, screwing over physical disc owners. Question though, so he does actually have a question. Do you think we will ever get a fighting game as good as Def Jam Fight for New York?
What a game.
So I'm glad you've played this game because I haven't. I have no touch point or anything with this.
If I'm not mistaken, I played it on the original Xbox. Let me actually check if there was maybe a different Def Jam.
So while you're looking that up, Zaid Krill comes in and says, I said this about Def Jam Fight for New York in my review 1,000 years ago. It is conceivably the next step in the evolution of one-on-one fighting games. I stand by that statement, even if no developer has chosen to take inspiration from it.
Yeah, so it was Def Jam Fight for New York that I played on the original Xbox. There was Def Jam Icon that came out for 360, and that might be the last one that came out. So essentially it was like a fighting game, but with real world rappers in there. So
yes, so that's why I'm like
Exhibit and Snoop Dogg and Ice Cube and Sean Paul, and it was real ridiculous. But so yeah, it was like a one-on-one brawler.
This is a PS2 game.
Sure. Yeah, it was a brawler. I don't know if I would define it as a fighting game per se, like a Tekken or something like that. It felt more like the style of like your side-scrolling brawlers and almost like a Smash game. You know what I mean? It definitely was one-on-one, but to me at the time felt more casual. But boy, was it fun. Like, really, really, really fun.
Look at this roster. Is that Kanye?
It's a ridiculously good roster. Like,
oh my
and then the fights are all these, you know,
is that Exhibit?
underground fights using. It reminds me a lot of at the time there was backyard wrestling. So WWE made a backyard wrestling game, and it was similar to that, like environmental attacks and stuff like that.
Amazing. How did they get this cast of people in here?
Dude, this game must have cost so much fucking money for licensing. And I bet that's why we didn't see many more, because I'm pretty sure it didn't.
Yeah.
And you could like straight up kill people. It was real fucking crazy shit. So great game. I would love to see it back, but I think the licensing must be absolutely ridiculous. You created your own fighter. You chose their fighting style. There was like a whole career mode. Like, career mode in a fighting game before NetherRealm did MK9 type of thing.
Amazing.
So very, very cool game. Yeah.
Sure. So was it completely 2D though? What did that person was going
it's like, it was 3D, but it was, fixed camera sort of.
Because in the earlier footage you saw, people being slammed into, there we go. Yeah, you like
it's definitely 3D like movement.
Amazing.
I mean, looking back, these character models aren't bad. Like they look like the Gears of War chunky Unreal Engine type of things, but like really good.
Somebody in the crowd is holding a weapon. Wait, what did that say?
You can grab it from them.
Wow. Amazing. I don't know. Well, I'll say I don't know how I missed this, but I never owned a PS2. So there's like a huge gap in my gaming history with that era. I was playing PC games and not PS2 games back then.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, the MJ, I don't know, maybe like Alessandro said, maybe there have been talks about doing it, but the licensing must just be like, how much would you have to pay to get all these big name brands in here? Like, hey, let's get Drake in here. Oh shit, but he wants like $5 million, $10 million. Like,
I can't even imagine.
That per cast character, and then it's like, that's not even development. That's just the name.
I think it was a very different time then. Like, especially like it was a more novel, so maybe the artists in question didn't charge as much because it wasn't seen as reaching as many people now. But now you've got like Travis Scott and Ariana Grande getting paid literal millions. Like Ariana Grande got paid like 10 million just to be in Fortnite. So like this sort of game will never happen again, unfortunately. Like, it just won't.
So last comments from these two on Twitter. So MJ was saying, amazing roster, great customization, creative finishes, revolutionary fighting system that adapts various styles and builds on them, fun story, amazing replay value. It's the perfect fighting game.
I actually completely forgot about all the fighting style stuff. So I 100% agree. Like the fact that you had a fighting game with fighting styles that you could customize was like,
my goodness.
Awesome.
Then Zaid adds, I think if Def Jam Archon hadn't screwed with the mechanics so much, this franchise would still be a thing. Pity a remake remaster is highly improbable.
I mean, I don't agree because it wouldn't be a thing. That's not why it got put down. Like, the game never made close to enough money it needed to justify paying all those artists. Yeah.
And then
it's like licensed music in games. Like, it's just,
And then last comment from MJ, Archon disappointed me more than Guardians of the Galaxy 2. Damn. It's real disappointing.
Damn, son.
Okay, we have a question from Megs who says, if still available, should I watch all the Netflix Marvel series, including the prequel that is mainly set at the HQ of the character that Samuel L. Jackson portrays at? You mean Nick Fury? So I presume he means the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.?
Oh, okay. So if you're talking about just the Netflix Marvel universe, which is a separate thing.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. That's also Daredevil and
that's
Punisher.
Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, and Iron Fist. And Punisher, yeah. There are certain ones I think you should watch. So I think Jessica Jones is fantastic. I think Daredevil, all 3 seasons. Season 2 of Daredevil's, but the overall arc of Daredevil is really, really good. You also see probably the best representation of Wilson Fisk out there, played by Vincent D'Onofrio. Very, very
Wilson
good.
Fisk is in the dude from the Spider-Man universe.
Well, the big like monster boss.
Cool.
Yeah. I say he's the best, but I keep forgetting that in the Daredevil movie with Ben Affleck, which is a terrible movie. We had a very, very good Wilson Fisk. Let me see. I think the actor's passed away now.
Oh, heck.
Movie. He was in the Green Mile. What's his name?
I've missed that entire that whole segment of Marvel shows. I have not watched a single one.
Michael Clark Duncan.
Okay.
Yeah, he was Wilson Fisk, and he was fantastic. He was the only good thing about that movie, to be honest.
My goodness.
So yeah, I would watch Daredevil and Jessica Jones, and definitely Punisher. Punisher's phenomenal. I think Luke Cage has a good first half of its first season, and then is just bad. And I think Iron Fist is bad all round. And then you have the Netflix Avengers thing called The Defenders, which is all four of them teaming up, and that was bad as well.
My goodness. But those characters all exist in the greater MCU, I presume. Or was it
no. I think they got retconned out. Yeah. So they did at a point, they would reference events happening in the films, they'd be like, oh, the Avengers fucked up New York or whatever. But if I'm not mistaken, when Disney shut that shit down and was like, hey, we're gonna make series on Disney Plus, I think they retconned them out of it.
Amazing. So it's like Thanos snapped half the universe, gone, oh, we brought half of them back except the Defenders.
Yeah, except them. Yeah, they're gone for good.
Damn it.
I think also, if I'm not mistaken, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. got retconned because it brought in elements that they are kind of wanting to revisit with some future series. So I never watched Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah, I missed it as well.
I heard it was good, but I never watched it. I only watched the Netflix stuff. And yeah. Based on that, it was very Jessica Jones' first season is genuinely phenomenal. Really, really good. And Punisher's 2 seasons are really, really good. So if you're gonna just watch those, you'd be happy. But I think Daredevil's worth a watch as well.
Yeah. Okay. We have 2 final questions from Chilo Zede. Big shocker.
Oh.
Question 1. He says, who's the best comedic actor and what's that actor's best movie in your opinion?
Best comedic actor.
This is a difficult one because you could go, I don't know, you could go with someone modern, or you could dip into the early 2000s. I immediately think of Adam Sandler, who I used to love watching. He had some great movies.
Little Nicky.
Yeah, Little Nicky, Big Daddy.
So good. Big Daddy was great,
But then I also think of Jim Carrey, who we mentioned earlier. He also had some great, Liar Liar is still one of my favorite movies. What a great wholesome movie back then.
Just some amazing hard hitting films like The Truman Show.
Yeah.
Ace Ventura.
Ace Ventura is
but real funny. Yeah.
But then you could go back even further to more retro stuff. I love Leslie Nielsen, who used to do Naked Guns. He was in Airplane. Those good spoof movies, I suppose you could look at anyone also, anyone who sort of started their career on Saturday Night Live generally tends to be a comedian who goes on to do stuff, in their life. I mean, pretty much everyone we've mentioned did start there.
Yeah, they had an origin there. And like you said, most big comedy actors that you see now all had their roots there. I think one of my favorites is Will Ferrell. I know people find his shit juvenile, but I think he's at some movies like The Other Guys where it's him and Mark Wahlberg, which is one of my favorite comedy movies ever. I think Mark Wahlberg is a real comedy gem.
Dude, he's a wild card. Mark Wahlberg, it's is he a serious actor or is he a comedian being serious?
Exactly. He can be a real deadpan serious character in a comedy and it just comes off. I mean, that is The Other Guys. It's this buddy cop movie where he's the serious guy and Will Ferrell's this blundering idiot, and it's just phenomenal. What a great film.
I mean,
and in that same vein, you've got Robert Downey Jr. Due Date with him and Zach Galifianakis is also one of my favorite comedy films. So yeah,
Yeah, I think in terms like one that comes to mind as well, Steve Carell. I think
Yes,
he's
absolutely.
like, I mean, the most obvious, example of his work is The Office, where like I don't think you could have cast anyone else as Michael Scott. He just nails that role. And I mean, it's funny that I got served a video a few months ago when I was watching The Office with Lenska, where it's like people who, what's the word, auditioned for certain roles, and you see some actors who auditioned for Michael Scott, like, ooh, like
Just didn't work.
they good actors, but it just wouldn't quite have worked. So
but it shows you like how much the show missed him when he left. Like,
oh
they
yeah,
try to get Will
100%.
Ferrell in, they try to get James Spader in for a stint, and they just could not match the same energy. Like, yeah, he's really, and he's been in some serious films since, like what's it called, Foxcatcher, which is really, really good. Yeah, I like Steve Carell a lot. Yeah, so that's a good pick. I think one of his bests also, what's it called, Crazy Stupid Love with Ryan Gosling.
Yeah,
So
I
good.
love that movie.
It's like
that
one of my
was,
favorite romantic comedies ever. It's so good.
Real good.
Yeah, I think that answers that.
I mean, I don't think we chose one, but we gave you a list of actors we like.
Gave you a list of great films to watch if you never have.
Yeah. And then this I thought was an interesting question. So Chilo says,
are we fighting an orangutan again?
So he did ask me this on stream. I can't remember when, probably a few weeks ago. Says, if you had the opportunity to win $50 million, if you were able to get a bronze in an Olympic event and had 4 years to prepare for it, what event would you participate in?
Oh.
So it's like you've got four, like let's assume you don't have to work. You've got four full years to just straight up train for an Olympic event. And if you get a bronze, you're going to get
so
a
I don't even
shit ton
need
of
to
money.
come first. I just need to come
Just
third.
need a bronze, yeah. So it's a good question because like you have to think it's something that you've even partially talented in. And so, but yet it has to be something vague enough that the competition's not like that hardcore, if that makes sense. Like,
or that you can skill up in, like, really, it's not based on age, because there's some like sports where we've passed our peaks possible already,
Yeah, but it's like, for example, you could never do the 100-meter dash because I think that that is one of the most like highly contested. Like if you're in a golden 100-meter dash, you are like an actual god among people.
And I think there's no amount of training that would get me even close to that.
Yeah. So it's like you need to pick something possibly obscure. Like I think of what is the event called? But there is shooting or something.
Yeah.
It's like is it skid shooting or something?
Yeah, where they've got like the pistol and they're just
like, so it's like that doesn't. I mean, age might be a factor, but
I don't think so, because I think the winner there this year was like 50-something years old.
Joel.
The problem you have in that is legacy, because people have been doing it for so long.
Exactly. Yeah.
So like breaking in just with 4 years might be challenging.
Yeah. But I do think of, what can I take advantage of? So it's like, I'm tall. Could I do high jump? But even that, it's like hard isn't necessarily the thing. You have to have, a good technique and have the ability to launch yourself from Earth up 2 meters, which is just.
What about this is actually something Portugal's pretty decent at, but 3v3 basketball, which was at the Olympics.
Oh, let's see, that could be something viable. I mean, I'm not a whippersnapper, but I mean, I'm relatively fit. I could become. But it's like super buff.
It's an obscure version of basketball, so it's not the mainstream basketball. You're tall, and it's a team game, so you can rely on the skills of your teammates as well.
Get me the 2 best South African basketball players, and we'll train and we'll get that bronze. So yeah, is basketball your choice?
No, I'd be fucking garbage at basketball. I mean, my immediate choice would be swimming, because I did that competitively for a long time, but I've passed my peak for that. Like these swimmers that are winning medals are like 5 years younger than me and have been swimming for like decades. So there is no fucking way. It's the same with running. Like there's no amount of training that will get me to that level.
What if you do something like where you just spend the next 4 years getting real ripped at gym and you do like shot put or something.
Shot put or like weightlifting?
Weightlifting, I don't know.
Weightlifting's contagious, yeah.
I watch those weightlifters and I'm like, how are your knees not snapping? And all of that weight. Like, I'm always worried because you see the legs shaking.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh God, something's going to give way. Like one time it's going to give way and I want to witness that.
And I've seen, I mean, my sister is a big competitor in CrossFit and she's been training dedicated for like 3-4 years now. And she's still got a way to go to until where she wants to be. So it's like, sometimes 4 years ain't enough. Like,
and I mean, your sister works very hard at CrossFit. So it's like,
do you know what I would do? Because I think if you practice enough, you could actually get it. Is ice curling. Because that's
that
like
could work. That's all like technique and
it's technique and feel, and it plays out in real time. Like, you know, you're trying to knock other balls over, so it's not just. I think ice curling would be a cool one. Also, it's just a fucking cool sport. So another one I think would be cool is mountain, the wall climbing. You know, like which was new at the Olympics this year. Yeah.
So that's weird because I'd say that's kind of obscure because you know it's like a very specific kind of sport. But then I watch some of those sprints and
they're good.
Those
the speed climbing is crazy.
Fly up those walls. I'm like, I can't do that.
So what I didn't know is that speed climbing the walls, all of them are standardized. So
yes,
the one that you climb here is the one that you climb at the Olympics. It's not you. The challenge in those events is just speed. It's not figuring out how to climb it. So I reckon if you had 4 years and that's all you did, maybe.
Yeah, like maybe it's still obscure enough that you can get some headway in 4 years' time.
So you saying shooting or 3v3 basketball?
I don't know. It's difficult. Like even the basketball shooting to me is a thing of like if I had nothing to do for 4 years, if I just like really committed to it, like I could maybe get proficient. But basketball, I just think I have to get good at basketball and just be very fit.
Hand-eye coordination and
yeah. I play Call of Duty, man. I'm good at shooting.
I think ice curling is my one because I think I'd have a lot of fun doing that. And then the only problem with that is I'd have to be cold like every day of my life.
My God. And who wants that?
Yeah,
who wants that?
But I think I could win a silver.
Did you realize that Cello's going to say that's a very boomer answer because only old people do ice curling?
Ice curling is like one of the most popular Winter Olympic sports. It's so popular. Like people love that shit.
I want to be one of those dudes who just sweeps the ice.
Exactly. I don't even have to be the dude letting go of the thing. I'm just the sweeper.
You're just there going.
Exactly. Fantastic. I'm there, man. I think it'll be great.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there you go. Ice curling for you. And
what about darts? I never thought of darts. Is darts an Olympic sport?
I don't actually know.
See, I could do darts, just 4 years of drinking beer and throwing things at a wall.
Throwing darts at a board. Yeah. Maybe.
Yeah. I mean, you see those world champion darts people, they look like that's what they do.
It's like, this dude, the local legend at his pub, snapped up by talent scouts.
Just drinking 10 fucking glasses of Guinness a day and throwing darts at the wall for 8 hours.
Amazing. Yeah. Well, there you go, Cello. We're gonna win that $50 million. That's a lot of money. You'd have to work real hard.
That is a ton of money.
Yeah. That's all the questions. We still hit the 1 hour 43 mark. We're good at talking shit. Let me tell you.
Yeah. If you want to send us questions, you can email us checkpointchatpodcast@gmail.com. You can also find us on all the social platforms at Checkpoint Chat on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram, on TikTok. Everywhere.
All the places.
Yeah, everywhere.
All of the places.
That's been episode 156 of Checkpoint Chat. As always, if you got this far, thank you so much for listening. We appreciate you. We love your support. And
drop a like and subscribe if you
drop a like and subscribe.
Inclined. It just helps us crack that YouTube algorithm.
Exactly. Yeah. If you're watching on YouTube, like, subscribe, comment. as
Give us
well.
some love.
Share with your friends.
Oh, one random thing I just remembered. Malesh left a comment on our last video, which I found fascinating, because last week we had the what color pack of chips, salted chips will be.
Yes.
So he said that in Australia, let me just find this comment before we go. The official salt and vinegar in Australia is pink.
Oh yes. I think Shani and I watch MasterChef Australia, and if I'm not mistaken, the dude actually used chips in a chocolate dessert thing,
chips.
and it was like a pinkish purplish color. So listen, I'm just glad they have it there, because I know so many countries that America doesn't have salt and vinegar. They find it disgusting.
What?
So yeah,
crazy. It's crazy talk.
Crazy talk.
There we go.
But yeah, thank you so much for listening, and we will see you next week.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.